Welcome to another LineStar tutorial video. Alongside Tyler Wiemann, I'm Shannon Somerville, and we are here to help you if you are a daily fantasy player who makes mistakes, or even if you're perfect. These are 3 mistakes that are very common in daily fantasy. Hey, Tyler, we all make mistakes every now and then in life.
Big mistake. Big. Huge.
It's just a matter of how we respond, how we correct those mistakes, and move forward. It could be the biggest difference between you cashing in on your daily fantasy contest or, just going into the red zone. Nobody wants to see that. Well, Tyler has some really great advice.
Unless you're playing football.
Yeah. He's won over $110,000 this year alone, so he's got some great advice. I'm sure, even maybe when you started out, did you ever make any mistakes, or are you just perfect? Okay.
So many mistakes.
I am a beginner player, so I'm also coming across some mistakes that I've made. So we'll help you get right here and go over the top 3 mistakes that daily fantasy players make. So hopefully you can avoid them, learn from them, and just get better at playing daily fantasy. So let's go over this list here, Tyler. At number 1 is going to be contest selection.
You must choose. Choose wisely.
This is a big one. What do you think about contest selection and the mistakes people often make there?
It is. It's a huge one. And it's not only before you start making money. It's while you are making money, while you know what you're doing. It's still a big one. I know I've done it so many times where had a big win, and then I'm just like, I'll just step up in stakes a little bit. And then I'm just not really fully thinking about it, where if I'm stepping up, I need my bankroll to be able to last me long enough to realize the edge that I have. And if you're not picking contests with that in mind, you're most likely going to go broke before you win.
You chose poorly.
So contest selection and knowing your bankroll, managing your bankroll is key.
For me as a beginner, it's something that we talked about as I was starting to kind of enter these contests. It's, a lot of the beginner contests are open to me, and you don't have to snub your nose at it. I mean, you can win a good bit of money and learn the process. And it's a great way for me to learn how to play, and also kind of create a little bit of a bankroll for myself before I start, entering into these contests. And that's what you kind of have to keep in mind, is be disciplined to the contest that you're doing. And sometimes it's easy 100%. To see, start winning, get a little confident, and then you're like, oh, I think I want to enter into these big contests. And then you kind of backslide a little bit.
It's easy to go up. But you just got to kind of stay diligent and not do it. You have to be precious of that bankroll and pick contests that will support that. It takes a little while to learn what you're doing, and even then you just need to stay diligent and stay conservative with the bankroll.
You have chosen wisely.
And we actually have a video that's dedicated just to this topic. So if you're curious and want to learn more about that specific topic of how to choose the contest, we went on DraftKings and we went through a bunch of the different contests, and Tyler gave some tips. So make sure to check that video out as well, and we will link that for you here on YouTube. Next up is going to be poor lineup construction. Now, there's a couple different facets here. The first being use of stacking in lineups. What is your assessment of the mistakes people make here?
So in baseball, people don't stack enough. It is now starting to become the norm. But, I mean, this is almost 10 years into, DFS being a thing here. And stacking in baseball is so crucial, because there's always, say, 3 lineups or 3 teams that have way more runs than the rest of baseball for that day. And so you really just want to focus in on that and try and get that outlier showing from one of those teams, and 4 or 5 guys on that, depending on if you're on DraftKings or FanDuel.
Another part of the lineup construction is that you often see people making the mistake of maybe going too much with the field and these high-owned players or teams in general.
Yes.
What do you make of the pitfalls that people make here?
Before we get into that, let's touch more on stacking, just so we can do more sports. Like for NFL, you want to stack also with quarterback and wide receiver, tight end. don't want to have your defense against your quarterback. There's simple kind of logical things that you're going to think of. And then for basketball, it's a little bit different where you want to stack a little bit, but you can't go too much.
Yeah.
Basketball is so much a projections-based thing. There's so many minutes, and these guys have played so much that we kind of know what's going to happen, but you got to kind of put it all together.
Right.
And because of our projections being so good, the pricing is a little bit better, so you can't really stack like that. Now to the high own question. So one of the issues with some of these contests is people having too many duplications. So meaning one lineup being played 1,000, 2,000 times, where ownership is saying that lineup is good, and it might be, but if you're always being duplicated that many times, long term, you're not going to be a winning player, because when you do win, you're going to win so much less.
Yeah.
So that is one key thing about ownership. There's also another thing with, if you're playing that group of high owned players, whenever they do good, you're moving with the entire field. Whereas if you're different, then you're moving when everybody else isn't. And that's really key. That's some leverage to kind of help you get up and get into the top 10.
On the other end of the spectrum, there's also maybe being a little bit too different, a little too contrarian.
Yes.
What can you tell us about that dilemma?
I can tell you I've done that way too many times. I do like trying to play a little contrarian. Sometimes you get a little too big brain, too galaxy brain, and you get out there trying to, think of like, oh, well, if this XYZ happens, then this will happen. And you don't need to get that crazy to be different. You can be different with just tweaking a few things.
All right. And lastly, a simple one here is just not using projections to base your lineup on. Which, by the way, if you haven't already, check out the LineStar app. It's a great tool that has projections for you that'll help you out in daily fantasy. So make sure to check that out, linestarapp.com. All right, Tyler, you take it away here on projections.
And look, this day in DFS, this age in DFS, everybody is using projections, but not using them you're just putting yourself at such a big disadvantage.
Right.
There's so many things you can see from projections. And one of the factors about projections is it's quantifying all of the little factors and variables in together, where it's hard for, just our brain to comprehend that, especially on a level of like 300 players on a slate. So having the projections and reading them and understanding the range of outcome with the projections is huge.
And lastly, our third mistake that people make is just not being consistent with your strategy. What do you think about this problem people run into?
First of all, trying to create a process is a good thing, and creating that strategy is a good thing. But with, realizing your expected value or the edge that you have, it could take a really long time. And so if you're constantly tinkering and changing your strategy, you're never going to know if you're on to the right path. If you win once, it doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean your strategy was right. You could have just been lucky that night.
Sure.
And so you need to, if you think about your strategy, come with it, stick with it for a little while, and to really see if it's working. And
by strategy, we mean stuff like maybe you're fading the top pitcher every night, or what are some other examples, I guess?
You can fade whoever the top pitcher is, the top hitter team that day. You can fade the highest owned quarterback, or, there's a ton of different ways you can go about it. But really what we're saying here is just create your process, create some strategies, maybe create a macro strategy to use for the entire year. And then within the certain slates, you can change that macro to fit that slate. But pick a strategy, stay with it. Pick a process, stay with it for a little.
And what do you know? We have a video on just that topic as well here on the LineStar YouTube channel, so make sure to check that out as well. If you would like to see any other videos for us to do, maybe go in depth on any of these other topics, please let us know in the comments. We're here to help you guys win some money, play daily fantasy. Guys, we're all in it to win it. We want to help you guys out. And one way we could help you out is if you guys get LineStar app, linestarapp.com. It's a really affordable option out there, and it's got so many tools to help you play daily fantasy. Projections, matchup. We've got the Props AI tool now for those of you that are also interested in that. Great. And it's been really good for us and profitable for us this baseball season. And also the lineup optimizer, which we have separate videos on that as well, how that can help you in daily fantasy. So just a lot of great tools for you. Make sure to check that out, linestarapp.com. And remember, if you are watching us and you're enjoying our content, make sure to like this video for us, subscribe to our channel, and sign up for those notifications so you know when we're coming out with a lot of content. We've got a lot of great tutorial videos coming out every day. We've got our daily props videos, and Tyler's got his daily fantasy video that comes out. So make sure to tune in for that too. That'll help you out. Let's go out there, win some money like my man Tyler over here is rolling in the dough this season.
Let's win
All
money.
right. Good luck in all your daily fantasy. Remember to drop a comment if you have any questions. We'll see you guys next time.
Have a good one, guys. Bye.